have? Do we have?
We can. Or.
Yeah. Well, like it. The story of Aral Sea has been in my mind since I was in high school. It's been something that we were studying in school, and you kind of like know about the disaster, you know what happens, but when you actually go there and see everything in person, it hits you in a different way. A while ago, I was thinking of like maybe possibly writing some stories about Uzbekistan. I've been very like emotional and nostalgic about the place that I grew up in. And because I publish books and I write children's stories, I thought that maybe this would be a wonderful opportunity to bring some stories from the country where I grew up in and introduce like, basically the whole world to those stories. Most people know the stories of Nasiruddin. Aral Sea, to my surprise, was something many people didn't know about. Maybe some have heard of it in classrooms, but not to the degree where they understand that it's a disaster and it's an ecological hot topic, I would say. So that's why like I proposed a children's book to write about Aral Sea, about what happened to it. The publishing house that I'm working with is Chronicle Books. They loved it, and they decided that it's a wonderful opportunity. And as I was like researching more and more, I decided to come here and see it with my own eyes. Yeah, I went to Nukus, and from Nukus, like of course, like the first day was the Savitsky Museum, which is such a beautiful, beautiful place. How many of you have been to Nukus? I'm just curious, like with a show of hands.
None of us.
Yeah? Oh, really? Savitsky Museum? Have you been there? Uh-huh.
It's more amazing, wonderful. I like it.
Yeah.
Ecological.
Yes. Uh-huh. Anybody else? No? I would recommend, like if it's possible, just like the flight was really like easy. It was like a 1 hour flight from here, and people in Nukus are so sweet and wonderful. So I spent a whole day in Savitsky Museum, which is a collection of avant-garde of like the mid-century, like basically 1960s. Then from Savitsky Museum, there was a driver who picked me up, and we went to Muinak. How many of you have been to Muinak, I wonder? Okay, let me ask, like, is everyone in this room from Tashkent, or is there anyone from other cities?
I'm from Jizak.
Okay, there you go.
I'm from Kashkadarya.
Kashkadarya, uh-huh. Kashkadarya.
I'm from Bukhara.
Bukhara, okay. Andijan. Namangan. Tashkent. Okay, wonderful. So we went to Muinak, and in Muinak there is this cemetery of ships, and it hits you in a different way because of the scale, I guess. Like you see all of these pictures online, and yes, like you understand the disaster, but when you see these massive places like in person, it hits you in a different way. How can I scroll? Oh.
Yeah.
This?
Yes. No.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh. So just wanted like to show you like a few pictures that I took. Apparently this is PIS, which is like something like Polish people wrote.
Wow.
The sad reality of water shortage. So we were passing this little village, which used to be fisherman village, where people, like it was thriving and booming, and people, there was like a major fish factory, and there was like a major job provider place, I would say. Right now, it's a huge disaster. People have shortage of water. They buy water in gallons like this, and then they carry it home. So water is something they think about constantly. And like usually when we take a shower in the morning or when we brush teeth, we take it for granted. We don't really think that it's such a luxury in life to have clear water to drink and to shower. But for some people, unfortunately, it is a big, big problem. Yes, this lady couldn't afford the whole gallon, so she's carrying just 2 buckets. Well, this is the surface of what used to be Aral Sea, and right now it's just yes, Aral Desert, Aral sand. They say like it used to be Aral Sea, now it's Aral sand. Yeah. The whole journey was so long. I think from Muinak to Aral Sea took us 4 hours. And all of the roads were basically like bumpy. It was not an easy drive. This is when we went all the way to Aral Sea. There are like camping, the yurts. And the driver had to carry all of the food with us because there's nothing. There's no electricity, there is no power, there is obviously like no internet, of course. Yeah, like I disappeared for 3 days, and but my family knew that I would be detached from everyone for 3 days, and yeah, so the driver brought all of the food, all of the water with us, and it was kind of like a picnic style. Can you imagine, this whole area was covered with water. It looks like it's mountains, and the thing is, like, I'm really, really high up. As I was sitting there, I have a height fear, and it felt like I'm so high up sitting on the mountain, but the image flattens everything, but you can kind of see because of the little tiny car in the distance. But just the realization that this whole area used to be covered by water gives me chills. Understanding that these are not mountains, this is seabed, and yeah, that's incredible. As we were walking there, so this is like another surface, like the whole area is kind of like this, but in some areas it's more red or brown, in some areas it's kind of like more whitish. I found shark tooth. So at some point, some years ago, I don't know how long ago, there were sharks, and tourists were saying that back in the days it was possible to find like huge teeth. I found a teeny tiny one, and yeah. Once again, like the whole area used to be water, and I'm sitting basically on the seabed. Yes, can you imagine? Like the height is extremely high. The picture doesn't do the justice. The whole area is just, this whole thing was water. Let's drink. I guess like these patterns are from the water currents. So apparently there was some kind of a current going underneath, and that gave like the texture. I thought this was okay. This image goes first. I was taking a selfie, but then they came from out of like nowhere, and there's a cat and a dog, and there were actually 5 dogs and a cat. They were so friendly and hilarious because they were trying like to steal food all the time. And since I was like sharing my food, they were my best friends, so they followed me everywhere. The yurts were amazing. This is the 5 a.m. sunset, and they said that waking up at 5 a.m. was so worth it. Even though I went to bed really late, I set my alarm to wake up at 5 a.m. and it was gorgeous. This is unfiltered, like it's the actual colors. It's beautiful and gorgeous.
Okay.
So you can see how they have what's it called? Sun batteries or
Yeah.
Yep, some
Social panels.
solar system.
solar panels. Yes.
Solar panels.
Solar panels. And that's what they kind of control the electricity. They give it like for a few hours a day, but then like it's not enough to charge your phone, so you have to carry like a power bank and charge your phone there. But and then you can see like these are the showers where they have the buckets, so you have to be like really careful and considerate of others and use only a little bit. And those are the yurts. It's gorgeous, isn't it?
Yeah.
And yeah, so this is basically, we reached Aral Sea. So this is the actual Aral Sea, all the way down there. It looks like it's right there, but it's about like maybe, I want to say like maybe 15 minutes of driving. So it's not that close. Yeah, it's pretty far. This is like, the pictures are kind of like out of the order, but the village that we passed where people didn't have water, this is their school. So this is what this school looks like. And obviously like it needs lots of renovations and yes.
Is it a working school?
It's,
Like
yes.
kids
Yeah.
go there
Kids go there.
all day, every
Yes,
day?
yes,
Wow.
yes, yeah. That is the reality, yes. And yeah, this is the village.
This place is called Barsakemis.
Say it
This
again?
place is called Barsakemis.
No. We went there too. No. It's right outside. Like, I don't have my phone with me because of the security. Otherwise, like I wrote down all of this information. I could have told you, but it was on the way back. Like I want to say like maybe 2 hours from Aral Sea, like on the way back. But Borsa Kelmas was like near the lakes. Like if you know geographically, so if this is Aral Sea.
You can drive.
Oh, okay. Well, don't judge me. But like, let's say this whole place like used to be like Aral Sea, but right now it's like maybe like this much. We like Winak, I want to say is kind of like maybe here. Winak. The lakes was here. What was that other town? Because we went from Nukuz to Winak, and then from Winak we went the bumpy roads to Aral Sea, and then from here we went kind of like villages here, like tiny villages, and then we went to the lake, and then from the lake there's another town. I'm skipping the name of it. Kumgrad.
Yeah.
Kumgrad is here, so we went here, and then from here we went back to Nukuz. So I turned on my watch to just capture the GPS locations because I like to run and like we like to collect like interesting destinations and like to mark it on the map. And I thought it would be so cool to mark Aral Sea and just to know that I've been there and I ran there. So this is just a mile, like it's nothing crazy because the roads were so bumpy. But it was so interesting to see on the map, like, and you see this, like this is the camp. You see this road, and this is Aral. It's pretty far.
Yeah.
And do you see those like mountains? Like
Yeah.
those, like they go all the way up there. So like I don't think I have a satellite picture. This is Aral Sea. Like it used to be like this big, but now it's this. This is Borsa Kelmas, the white thing. It's all salts. And yeah, this is where we went, and then kind of like we went this way and then over here. And those are the mountains where I found the shark tooth. And as we were driving, there was one shepherd. There's a teeny tiny little, like, I don't even know, like, what's it called? Like,
Ship.
you know, I know the ship, like, I would say, like, what is this, like, puddle? And the whole herd was gathering around that tiny little puddle. And again, the pictures are kind of like out of order, but let's see if I can find them. So this is the shepherd, but you see like his herd. So and you see this little puddle. The whole, like I wanted, like we wanted to stop and take a few pictures and like ask him about his life. So the whole herd, they were kind of like slowly moving away from us because they're sheep, you know. But then this little goat was the one that was so curious, like looking at me. I was wearing a cap, thinking like, what kind of animal are you? Like, I took like maybe, I don't know, 100 pictures of this goat because it was like so cute and it kept staring at me. But then we like talked to the shepherd a little bit, and we asked him like about his story, who he is, and so on. So his great grandparents were fishermen. So when that whole area was covered in water, that's how they sustained the waters. And I asked him like if he's willing to move out and maybe like find a different location. And he said no, he wishes that the waters would come back. Unfortunately, yes, I don't know if it's ever possible. This town, like this used to be a fish factory. This whole place used to produce fish and supply fish, not only for Uzbekistan but for the whole like former Soviet Union. I want to say this was a hospital.
Hospital.
Well, because it's a little town, so there are hospitals, schools, but everything is so abandoned. It's like a ghost town. Oh, those are some of the pictures. I guess I threw them here somehow. So I was drawing and sketching. So and yeah, I'm planning to illustrate a book eventually. Oh, is it?
That's a video.
Is it video? How do you know?
Yeah. Plus the center.
Oh, I see. Yeah, this whole place was
Water.
at some point. Let's see, I'm not sure what I added in here. Oh, it's not moving. The driver was saying that this is the Uzbek canyons, you know, like Uzbek canyons. He said, like, do you want me to take you to Uzbek canyons? Oh, this is the cutest thing. I fell in love with this kitten. Like, I wanted to take her home. This is 5 a.m. Beautiful. I was hoping for a reaction. One more? Yes?
Yeah.
Хорошо, спасибо. Как вы сами отдохнули?
This way, I see here. It,
That's the shepherd. I guess that's it. Yeah, so this is basically like a short story of my travels in Uzbekistan. And for the rest of the time, my cousin is here studying. She's taking me all over Tashkent, and we're trying to recognize the places because the town has changed, city has changed so much since 18 years ago. I can hardly recognize some of the places. This community is kind of the same, but everything outside has changed so much that it's like beyond recognition. And the day after tomorrow, I'm headed to Samarkand, and then, yeah, after that, that's it. Yeah.
Any questions? Maybe you can show some your work, your webpage.
Sure, yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I think Aral Sea is a better effect in every country. Yep.
Say it again.
Aral Sea's
Uh-huh.
effect, how to say, touch every country.
Good sense. It's getting
Like what she's trying to say, like are also like affecting other countries as
Yeah,
well.
just
Like, you mean Kazakhstan, maybe because it's
Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and so.
Turkmenistan too.
No, but I think that the main reason that Aral Sea like disaster happened, that Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan are like spending this enormous amount of water. I think they are the main reason because as I had a research about the Aral Sea, the Amudara and the Sirdarya is the main point of like rivers, main point that keeps Aral Sea with the water. But that the amount of water that consuming like agriculture of Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan is enormous. That's why we can see the disaster.
Right, yeah, it's true. But the thing is, like, the disaster has actually started way back. It's when the cotton industry and exactly, it's when they were trying to set up the 5-year plans and.
And Afghanistan right now is doing worse because they are also using Amudarya's water.
That's true.
Yes, but just I think that we can't just handle and we can see that in the future that Aral Sea will come back. It's just end of Aral Sea.
Unfortunately, I'm afraid you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, but there were also some of ideas that from the Turkish Black Sea, you know, like yeah, they want to make a canal to the Aral Sea, but unfortunately the Aral Seas were higher than that.
Oh,
Black
I
Sea,
see.
so the canal was
So building.
impossible to build, even if they build the Caspi or Caspi.
Caspian.
Caspi, yes, Caspi Sea. The building the canal was just nonsense.
Yes, I know. I know the solutions are very tricky and difficult. I don't have any solutions because I have voice. I guess my part of the story is just to bring attention and to say that things like this are happening, and so that the rest of the world is aware and they know. But there's going to be a like children's book, so it's not going to be a nonfiction like story where I write like a novel about what happened here, but through the voice of kids, like maybe it's possible to bring attention to kids that there is shortage of water, that we kind of have to be like careful about how we use water. And I don't mean us just citizens, I mean like also the government, you know, like the regulations that they're making. Yeah.
There is only one way to just not use Amudarya and Sirdarya's water, but as we can't live without water, so there is no way. Like, that's
Well,
why, yeah.
Thank you for your opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, any other questions, or do you want me to
Is it
maybe
expensive travel to Mula?
to Muinak? Muinak was not because you just buy a ticket to Nukus, and then from Nukus you can. It's not that far from Nukus to Muinak, but from Muinak to Aral Sea is like a very difficult way to get there, because
How to find some people?
Travel agency.
yeah, the agencies, yeah, I guess if you ask travel agencies, they can recommend something. Yeah, they know the drivers and so on.
Was it easy to live 3 or 4 days without internet?
No, it was a bliss. I loved it so much because of my work. There's constant communication from all kinds of sources, like social media, with emails and so on. But 3 days, I haven't even noticed that there was no internet.
How you charge the phone? If there's no
Well, I carried a power bank.
Yeah, but power bank for only 2 days maybe. That's not that. Well, for 2 or 3 charges. But I think you use iPhone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Apple products have a bad charge, yeah.
Battery life, you mean?
Yes, as I'm also using the Apple, so I know about it. And when you filming a lot of times, so it will consume a lot of.
Okay, so this is a very technical question. I'll tell you, if you really want to know, I'll tell you. My iPhone is 3 years old, so it's been 3 years of constant usage. So the battery was not great, but my husband is very technical, so he ordered parts, he carefully opened it up, replaced batteries. I don't recommend doing this because if you don't know what you're doing, he replaced the battery, so I have a brand new battery in an old phone, and he sealed everything back up, and that's it. And now it lasts all day.
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure.
Did you talk to local people here, in Karachi, Pakistan?
Yes, yeah.
Why they don't move away from somewhere else? They stay here. Why they don't move away to other regions?
That was the question I asked the shepherd. I said what is the reason why are you staying here? And I guess it could. I don't know. I guess it's not as easy to relocate, and some people really love the place where they grew up, and they want to stay there because maybe of the relatives, maybe there's a connection with land, maybe I don't know. Yes, and there are a lot of people. They are saying that younger people try to move to bigger cities, like Nukus or Tashkent. But older people prefer to stay because that is their place.
How difficult life there?
In Nukus?
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to investigate the city that well. I only went to Savitsky, and because I'm a nerd, I spent from 11 till 4.
Like ours.
Yes. That's why I don't know Nukus that well. I only know a little bit of the area, so I haven't had a chance to talk to the locals that well. But they were explaining that Nukus is very modern compared to Aral area, and people from Muinak, they consider Nukus a big city. I guess there are more opportunities, and there's a few colleges there, many high schools and theaters and places of entertainment. Yeah.
How was the weather there?
Compared to Ohio.
Yes, it was extremely hot. In Tashkent terms, it was closer to 50 degrees. I had to wear sunscreen. Reapply sunscreen all the time, but even with sunscreen, do you see what's it called, the sunburn? So it was hot, but I had long sleeves. yeah, the people that I spoke to, they suggested wearing winter boots. I don't know if you noticed, like in some of my pictures, I'm wearing like big boots. It's because the sand was so hot that you can kind of like feel the heat even through the sole of your shoes. And then plus there are snakes and scorpions. So like especially when sometimes the driver would like leave us on top of what like appears like a mountain and say, there's no way I can go like lower, so you have to walk. And this place, Borsa Kelmas, let me use my skills again. So if it's like the mountains are kind of here, so the driver is like right here. He says like Borsa Kelmas is like here. So we walked and we walked and we walked and we walked, and it's like 1 mile away. Like 1 mile is how many kilometers? Like
1.6
1.6 kilometers. And this whole area is very bumpy, and I would say there are some creatures that might bite. Wearing big boots and with covered legs is recommended. And also the driver said like never lift a rock, because like when it's hot, all of those creatures hide under rocks. Like if you lift, yeah, it's possible that something might bite you. Yeah.
Can you tell us about your project? Why did you go to Aral Sea? Do you have a book about it?
It's only in the very, very early stage. There's not much I can tell about it now because it's still like in the concept stage, I would say. So I'm just like doing my research and collecting information. Before this trip, I went to New York City Public Library. It's a huge library. They have a insane collection of basically everything. And to my surprise, I could find Gazeta Pravda from the 60s, the actual like copies with some of the articles saying and bragging how they are overcoming the 5-year goals, you know, how they're like outdoing everybody and how they're doing so well. So in a way, it's like such a comforting reality where you understand like when the years went by and how sad it was, you know, but at that time it seemed like such a big achievement. But they say, like, I don't know how aware they were at that time that they were actually harming the land and they were like causing problems. So my research started like way there, and I found lots of interesting articles in New York City Public Library, and then I live in Cleveland, Ohio. Even in Ohio, it's possible to find and do some awesome research about Aral Sea without moving. But I wanted to see it with my eyes, and I wanted to come and see what is happening here. So the book is scheduled to be published next year in the spring, if there are no delays. So hopefully next year I might come back with the book. And yeah, I'll show you the book.
And is this a regular way to create a book?
No, not quite. So it's there are some people like me who like to do like massive research before they run. Well, let me say this: I'm really like excited about this book. Like I wanted, like it's something that I feel like very passionate about.
Okay.
So I want it to be not just like average book, but the book that like my product, the something that I create, my creation, I would say. And like my other books do not involve that deep of research. Maybe I'll like show some.
Yes.
There's internet here, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, like my don't judge my website because it's been abandoned for quite some time. Or maybe if I do books. This book has been like the most recent one. It's called Woven of the World. It was published earlier this year, and this book is about weaving as a craft, but also how we're all interwoven as a cultures, as people, and like relations, like the hugging and so on, like human interactions, and like these are some of the original illustrations from the book. And the author, Katie House, so basically every spread has different culture that it's focused on, and she, because I was the illustrator, she decided to dedicate one of the spreads to Uzbekistan and Ikat. And I'm trying to find the image of the Uzbek spread. Hold on a second. Maybe it's here. Oh no, I didn't do the links. Hold on a minute. No, that's not what I was. Hold on a moment. Okay, here. There was this interview, and they have lots of pictures. This is me in my Ohio studio. And I think this is where she's like flipping through the book. So the sketches, like I always carry a sketchbook with me, and these are the sketches, and you can see how I was trying to figure out like the whole like weaving and hugging and interconnections, and in the thread that goes and kind of like interwoven, and a few technicalities about the tools that used in weaving. And this is Peru, the spread dedicated to Peru, and how the mother and daughter, the history is kind of like revealed through objects that they have in the house. Like in this case, it's like the skirts, and how the Peruvian ladies are weaving, and but at the same time, it's the design of the skirts. And like a few goofy images of a cat, because I had to include the cat. Oh, okay, here, so like a few sketches of Uzbek couple. And yeah, and this is the dress that was included in the book. Yeah, and this, to my surprise, like this book has won so many amazing awards, and I'm hoping that the next one will see like also well received. Yeah.
Nice idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, any other questions?
Any other questions?
How did you leave Uzbekistan 18 years ago? And you studied, and which university you studied?
I went to Tashkent State University of Economics, studying computer science or cybernetics at that time. But then my family moved to the United States, and I was, at first in the beginning, I was trying to find something that is related to that. Like I thought web design maybe could be like my future, or like maybe like banks, cybersecurity, something like that. But it just happened that I stumbled upon this like temporary job that was creative. It was a car company, American Greetings, and like once I entered, like I knew that this was my calling, and I wanted to design and draw and become an artist. So I stayed there, and yeah, and since that time I became an artist, and my Uzbek diploma is basically just sitting on the shelf. Not helping much. now I teach at Cleveland Institute of Art. I teach illustration there, and so I have students just like you. Yeah, but they are Americans. They know where Uzbekistan is. They're very educated and smart and curious. So they, yeah, when you say Uzbekistan, they don't say Pakistan. They quite aware about the country, about the customs and everything. So yeah, they're also watching my travels, and they write to me, and they're very excited to see the. So I'm planning to come back there and also do the same presentation to those students and educate them. Yeah. Anybody else? Any other questions?
How many languages do you know?
Well, it used to be Russian first, Uzbek second. Unfortunately, now it's Russian first, English second, Uzbek third. My parents speak Uzbek. I understand everything. It's just that I am not as fluent in Uzbek as I'm in English. English became second, unfortunately.
So you are a teacher, like independent teacher, or you study how to say you teach your students in the university?
No, I'm a professor. It's it's a college. So it's not. When I say college in Uzbekistan, it has a different meaning. College over there means university is a larger umbrella that combines multiple colleges inside of it. So like it's basically kind of like a department. Yeah. Because like I know it confuses people here when I say college. They think it's like high school, but no, it's like university. Yeah.
And what about your daughter?
Oh, yeah. She's 12. Her name is Sabrina. And she speaks English first, Russian second, and in Uzbek she can only count till 10.
And,
Oh, images.
yeah. She loves to drive or
Yes.
painting or.
Yeah. She also loves to draw. She is an amazing artist, and
No.
Yeah. but she's in 7th grade. So at this point, like we don't quite know what she's gonna do in the future. But at the moment, she's just a teenager.
Nice. Any other?
I have one question.
Sure.
Do you prefer Arizona University? Do you prefer Arizona University?
Which university?
Arizona State.
Arizona State.
Arizona State or University of Arizona?
Arizona University. Do you prefer?
University of Arizona. Do you prefer University of Arizona?
Do I prefer?
Yeah.
Oh, I've never been to Arizona. I don't know much about it. I assume it's a good place. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I've never been there.
What about Goward?
Have you
Actually, sorry. I don't know, to professional illustration artist or artist, you have to graduate the universities or colleges, or it doesn't matter. What do you think?
It's a good question. So if you're a doctor, if you are trying to become like a nurse or a doctor, it matters. But when you draw, it's a different story. So I have a huge list of clients, and I work with like amazing companies and brands and so on. So that big list basically speaks for my experience. And yes, I don't have any specific education in teaching, but they still hired me because I have experience. And yeah.
How did you become a professor then?
Well,
Of
because of,
PhD, yes.
yeah.
Related inspiration?
No, experience. There was when the job, when the position was open, there were many of us who applied, and to be honest, like I thought I had no chances, and there were 4 rounds of interviews. In the first round, they basically asked just to submit all of the documents and so on, and after that, there was a second round of interview when it was in person. no, not in person, via Zoom, when like they ask just like brief questions about just, I don't know, like your experience, things you've done, and so on. Yeah, but then the third round was
What about diploma?
in person. What?
What about diploma?
Diploma.
In my case, it doesn't matter. If they hired me, I don't know.
And where we can get inspiration for your future jobs? Like books?
Well, at the moment, like my trip to Aral Sea is the biggest inspiration. I have so many pictures, sketches that I cannot wait to come back to my little studio in Ohio and just like start drawing from it. If you are on Instagram, like I post like a little bits of it, so you can kind of like glance behind the scene and see what is happening. But the majority of work will be done like when I come back, of course.
Can you write on the desk your Instagram account?
Yeah.
I don't. Instagram is a tricky thing. It's this one. So yeah, like you see, like I post like
Yeah.
a few like inspirations and stuff, and oh, it doesn't let me scroll like any. Oh,
I'm good.
this was like the Beijing competition, and I got first place. This was communication art award, and that's one. Well, now it's like it will say like to sign up, but that's the place. I also brought like a few postcards. Like I don't know if it's gonna be enough for everybody, but yeah, like I don't know if we can like maybe pass it around and